Vanakkam. Today I am going to cover another important aspect in fraud. And before going to the fraud, I want to say one thing, and it is useful to everyone, all chartered accountants. If you fail to detect any fraud during the course of audit, then the auditor is personally held responsible for the fraud because you are also to be treated as party to the fraud. So you have to be very, very careful and you have to do the audit very carefully. This fraud, which I am going to share with you, is my practical experience. This has happened in the year 1996. And still this type of modus operandi is there in some banks. This has happened in the concurrent audit, and this was my first concurrent audit. This has happened in the year 1996. It is the concurrent audit is allotted to me by a private sector bank. I went to the bank around 2:30 to 45 because morning only I received the order. So I reported in the afternoon. I went to the bank. I went to the branch. Then when I entered the branch, that branch it is still it is there. It is situated in the first floor. So when I entered the branch, I noticed that there was a long queue started from the cash counter and it comes down, and people they are standing in the roads also. Then I entered because that was the first day. So I observed that. Then I entered the branch. Then I introduced myself to the branch manager, and lot of things are going on at the time of introduction because that bank is they are not very familiar with the concurrent audit, and even that was my first experience. I had better experience with the manager. Then after that, after some time, some days only, that manager came very close to me. Even we had a lot of discussion. Then as usual, as per the terms of concurrent audit, you have to be there for 20 days in a month. So it's a locally situated branch. I went almost daily for 2 to 3 hours. Then again I observed every day in the afternoon there was a long queue. But morning when I went for audit, I observed that there was no queue at all. It's a normal transaction is going on. Then the evening after 2:30 I observed long queue. Then the bank time, that was very, very important. That starts from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That means there will not be any transaction after 2 p.m. to the public. But I observed this queue by 2:30 to 3. After 1 week, then I called the substaff. Then I inquired because I have not discussed this with the branch manager. I inquired with the substaff, and another information I want to share with you. If you are a concurrent auditor or if you are a statutory auditor, the professional informer or professional helper during the course of audit is the substaff of the branch. This you have to take note of it because they will be helpful to you always. He has said, sir, these customers, they are standing here to receive the cash from the cashier for those checks which they have put for collection in the morning. Normally the time is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Those checks which have been sent for collection will be realized only around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So after confirm the fate of the checks, the bank they are making payment to the customers. So the transaction was only up to 2 p.m. is permitted, but the bank is making payment after 3:30 p.m. 3 o'clock after confirming the fate of the check, is there any return of the check, then they are making payment to the customers. So that means the bank is making payment against the shadow balance. So the bank has to charge 1 day interest for those payments. The bank has not collected any payment at all, any payment towards interest, because they said they want to liquidate the cash which they had. This is the reply I got. So leakage income in the form of 1 day interest, that is a different issue. That also I reported, and the bank branch, after seeing my report, they collected the interest, 1 day interest. Then they use the word, sir, we want to liquidate the cash which we had. Then I asked another question, where those heavy cash comes into the branch daily. Then the same sub-staff, I asked him, sir, this particular customer is making almost 2 to 3 crores daily into the one particular customer is making the payment into the account. Then I asked him, okay, I want to go through the account of that customer. Then I observed that after huge cash is being remitted into the account, that customer is transferring the fund to various branches of that bank in the form of mail transfer, TT, telegraphic transfer. They are transferring the funds. Now it is RTGS, previously it was TT, telegraphic transfer. They have transferred the funds. Then I further went into the transaction of that customer and actually probed into the customer. Then I came to know that that customer has opened his current account with all the branches of that bank. At the time it was 124 branches. All the branches he has opened the account. So, and in all those accounts, all those branches account, he has appointed his agent to operate that account under his instruction. Then he has, what the modus operandi is, after 2 p.m. the bank will not issue any DD or TT. They will not be able to issue DD or TT after 2 p.m. So this man, if the customers, they want urgent money or urgent DD, then all those persons who are not fulfilled the KYC norms, or sometimes some number 2 transactions, these customers, they approach this, bank customer, and they will make cash payment to this customer today, and he will charge bank commission. That means he is taking bank commission. Then after receipt of cash and DD commission, he has issued check. Say if the customer want Bombay check, then this customer, he will issue Bombay check. Say the amount is for 3 lakhs. For 3 lakhs, he will receive a commission. Then he will give check of the same company who is having account with Bombay. He will give you the check. Then he will hand over the check to the person who wanted the check. Then this person has sent the check to the concerned party at Bombay. Then they will put the check for collection. They will take the money. This is the modus operandi. That means this customer has opened all the current accounts in all the branches of that particular bank. Then he has received DD commission and he has issued his check. Now it is anywhere banking. In 1996 there was no such concept. Even this is also, even in few banks, it still this type of transactions I came to know. But if you are a concurrent auditor, you have to be careful with this type of transaction. So now, then I inquired, why he is receiving commission, who has given the permission, why he is transferring huge amount. And when any amount is transferred through TT, that is telegraphic transfer, the bank has to charge the commission. As per that bank's head office circular, it stated that if the customer, those customers who are maintaining 12 lakhs deposit, 50% of TD concession will be given, or TT concession will be given. That is up to 6 lakhs, there will not be any charge. But for this customer, the bank has not charged any collected, has not charged or has not collected any DD or TT commission. All services at par. This customer is making huge payment into the bank. Then I asked about the deposit evidence. The manager showed the transaction saying that this customer has deposited 50 lakhs into the account. Against that 50 lakhs, he has received 37.50 lakh as loan. So 50 lakhs, 37.5 lakhs he has received loan, and remaining 12.5 lakhs will be treated as deposit to get the concession. I said, sir, this 12.5 lakhs is encumbered towards the interest. That means this customer is not having any deposit at all. Then there was a lot of dispute going on whether the remaining 12.5 crores, 12.5 lakhs are encumbered deposit or unencumbered deposit. Then head office has clearly stated that even if 1 rupee is being 1 rupee loan is being obtained from that deposit, then the entire deposit is encumbered deposit. There is no unencumbered deposit. This is another issue which the head office has clarified. So according to me, there was no encumbered deposit or there is no unencumbered deposit. So I worked out the leakage, which because it's a huge leakage. Meant for only for 9 days I have worked out, because my audit period started from 1/4 of 1996. Then I said, okay sir, this is a leakage for 9 days, and I recommended the inspection department to work out the leakage since the opening of the account. That was some 9 months back they opened the account. When I reported this to the head office, that is to the inspection department, they called me to the head office because they want a proper modus operandi explanation. I went there, then I explained them. Then that GM inspection, he said, because I have to report to AGM inspection, GM inspection is taking care of the inspection department. He said, no sir, we have already issued a circular saying that this account should not be opened, it should be closed. Because the starting point is my place, that is Salem. So I said, sir, this is a modus operandi, and one thing I want to clarify, sir, this is against RBI norms. No parallel banking activity is allowed. This customer is helping the other customers to hide black money and to some extent to hide hawala transactions. So you have to take immediate steps, otherwise your banking license will be in trouble, because your bank, this branch which has authorized all other branches as a whole to open the account, you have violated RBI guidelines. And the GM is what he did, he immediately sent a mail or TT, telegraphing mail to all the branches to stop the transaction immediately with effect, on receipt of this mail. Immediately what they did, they closed the entire transaction of that particular customer throughout India. So a lot of mess was going on, because the bank faced a lot of problem because of this suddenly closure, because this customer has remitted the payment to Salem branch, The Salem branch has sent the TT, but that TT was not honored. That was returned to the originating branch. Suppose if the customer is in Calcutta, from Calcutta they are sending TT to Delhi. So all those transactions they have been stopped, because if it is not being stopped, then that bank's license will be in trouble. This is a major, one of the major fraudulent activity which I noticed, and I reported that. So as a concurrent auditor, you have to be very, very careful. But you have, my suggestion is, you have to see the current account transaction also. Don't see the low transactions. You have to see the current account transaction. Normally we are seeing vouchers, that's all. But you have to view the current account operations every month. So they immediately stopped, and a lot of problems were created. Even I have been sometimes one phone call I received because of this activity from the customer. Even I don't know whether it is not possible for that customer to go to the bank, because they did all sort of unwanted transactions. So I don't know whether the bank has released the fund or not. But as a concerned auditor, I did my duty, saying that this is a fraudulent transaction, and this transaction is a banned activity of Reserve Bank of India, because they carried out parallel banking. So I request all the chartered accountants who are doing concurrent audit, and to some extent statutory audit, if you want, if you are able to identify it, but concurrent auditors have to do very, very carefully to all the verification to these type of transactions. And this is a matter, this is an experience I want to share through this video to you. So I once again repeat my opening statement. If any fraud is undetected during the course of audit, then the auditor is personally held responsible for the loss to the bank. So I request the members kindly go through the audit seriously, particularly in concurrent audit, because you are the first man to report all these type of transactions to the head office. And I wish you all the best, and I'll request once again, kindly do the audit carefully, and wish you all the best. Thanks for watching this video. Nandri Vanakkam.